All right. So here we go. It starts out with the man meeting with Tommy. So Tommy jokes about Swayze. Swayze loves to wear his tight shirts. So Tommy is, telling Swayze, joking with him about his tight shirts. And yes, honestly, he is absolutely correct because Swayze loves to wear a medium shirt. Um, Alonzo says this. So Tommy asks, the men, what is so hard about finding women in Miami? And Alonzo says that it's finding a woman of substance. It's not finding a woman, but just finding a woman of substance in Miami. So I would think that would be hard to believe. Maybe they're looking in the wrong spots, wrong places, or maybe they're married. I don't know, but it seemed like you would find some good quality women in Miami. Um, Tommy challenges the men for this week to step out of their box, somebody that they would normally not go for. So they, instead of someone they're comfortable with, step outside and find out someone that maybe you may not necessarily go for. So, and I can actually agree with that because my husband was not someone that I would necessarily go for. But what I did do was I said to myself when I first started, on my dating journey or just bettering myself, I said, whenever I did have a husband or whenever get into another relationship, that I wanted it to be about substance. Because I always said that God looks on the heart and man looks on the outside. And although I want someone that I'm attracted to, but I also want to focus on what he has on the inside as well. But I do have to be attracted. That's a non-negotiable. It has to be some attraction. I can't be with no boogaboo. And it just I have to find it. I have to be able to want to engage with you for a long period because we got to see each other. So yeah, that's my spill on that. So LJ goes out with Looney. She Looney says that the only one ask is for her to be number one. She also wants a protector. Um, so that's one of the big things. She wants authenticity. She wants to be prioritized, and she wants to be able to depend on a man. Um, LJ is saying, that he's looking. What he asked for Looney is that he wants. No, LJ wants to be prioritized, but Looney wants a protector and someone that she can depend on. I was kind of shocked by this whole thing. Looney did make mention that LJ was the only man to have reached out to her to ask for her number, and while she was sick, he was the only one to even to check on her. So that was very interesting. So she seemed to be very excited about seeing LJ, and LJ seemed to be, excited about seeing her and kind of seeing where her head's at. So I don't necessarily see a love match for them, but I definitely see where they have a good little connection going. I feel like she was flattered at the fact that LJ did take time to make sure she was good. So that's a good thing on any level. But I'm not sure about the attraction. I don't know if she's really attracted to him. I didn't see the sparks, as far as the chemistry, but I did see where she was very flattered, that he did take time out of his schedule to see about her. The next date was Shakira and Alonzo. So Shakira was kind of, thrown off that Alonzo even asked her for a date because Alonzo didn't seem to be as interested in her because he didn't ask for her number or anything like that. So she was kind of thrown off that he asked her for a date. So he said he wanted to get he wants to find out a little bit more about who she really is. Shakira, she goes in, she wants to know about how does he feel about kids because everyone knows that Shakira is a big stickler on her son Prince Amir, who is 7 years old. So he said, that Alonzo was saying that a woman's child is basically an extension of herself. So he wouldn't feel any type of way, with her having a child. So I like that. I like that Alonzo said that. Again, on this day, I didn't see the necessarily the sparks, but I did see where there was a connection. I don't see where they would be in anyone's top, to put it like that. But I feel like they got to understand each other a little bit more. So the next date goes to Samson and Sharice. Samson says he wasn't really feeling Sharice like that because, I think at the mixer she seemed to, be very distracted. She was in her phone. She didn't seem that Samson giving Samson the time of day. So he felt like from the beginning, like, you know, he X Sharice out of the whole equation. However, I think he's attracted to her. So that's, maybe why he may have felt slighted in a way because she wasn't paying attention to him or wasn't giving him, the attention that he wanted from her. So Sharice says, as they are talking on their date, she says that she, was opening up to Samson because he seems like he's a protector, and she's looking for, someone who's like a protector. Samson also spoke of his parents being married and in love and had 5 kids together, but they did separate. And while they were separated, his father did pass away. He did make mention that his mother was kind of like Sharice. She had long wavy hair. I don't know what that got to do with anything, but he did say that. Um, Sharice seemed to be enjoying her conversation with Samson. But Samson is a life coach, so I'm not shocked that he made her feel comfortable. I feel like Sharice is that she has a hard exterior, but once you can chip away, if a man wants to put in the time to chip away that hard exterior to find out who she really is, I feel like Sharice puts up a facade. I don't think Sharice is as superficial. I think she does like the aesthetics, and I think she does look like a lavish lifestyle. But I think she also has some core values that she's not letting the men in on. They are she. I think she's wanting them to work for her and to chip at that exterior because I feel like she has something inside of her, but she doesn't want to be vulnerable. So that may not work for her, out for her in the long run because of this process. Because you're expected to move a little quicker, and I don't know if she'll move as quick as this process goes. So the next day goes is a group date. Mike is on a group date, and does the date. It's a trapeze event. Um, April seems to be in her element. She's jumping all over the place. She's having herself a good time. Justice says he's not really feeling the trapeze. He's just like, and so they're just having fun learning how to do the trapeze. So Mike takes Kayla to the side and wants to have a conversation to get to know her better, kind of get a deeper understanding of Kayla. And I know he made mention of the fact that Kayla was a little young, and the fact that Mike is also wishy-washy on does he want kids or does he not want kids. Kayla wants kids, so automatically that's not going to be a good match for them if he's not willing to bend on having more kids or be truthful, because you're lying, Mike. You're lying everywhere you go. You're telling one group of women no more kids. You're telling another group you want kids. So I don't know where Mike is at this point with kids, but I know definitely Kayla wants kids. And so if you don't want more kids, Mike, it's all good, but be honest. So as they're getting acquainted with each other, here comes April. And I hate that shit. I don't want to say I hate her name is April. But I was like, why does April got to be the annoying one? I'm like, April, you got to have a little bit more chill than that. You got to be a little bit more cool. So she busts in on them, and just starts talking and talking about how she feels like Mike wasn't feeling her at the brunch and things of that nature. Like she really literally bust into their conversation. Kayla's looking crazy. I really wish that Mike would have just said, April, let's have this discussion. I want to, talk more with you about it. Can we have this discussion a little later? I want to wrap things up with Kayla. I mean, he could have. I mean, Mike wasn't cool about the situation, and April definitely wasn't cool. She jumps in, and then she, gets around, and like sits on his leg or something. It was weird, and Kayla was like, you could tell Kayla was uncomfortable. Swayze comes and whisks Kayla away. Thank God, because I would have been the same way. Like, oh, thank God, thank you for just getting me out the whole situation because it seemed odd it was very odd. So Looney is also at the event, and Looney and Justice takes Looney to the side, and talks about a little bit about her absence, and she feels a little behind, but not too far behind. But she definitely feels a little. People have started to make more connections, and she's having to play catch up a little bit. Of course, Justice and all his arrogance has to say, I reintegrated her into the whole, situation. I'm like, you reintegrated her. I don't think you had anything to do with that, sir. So go sit down somewhere. So Kayla and Swayze, they flirt a little bit. Swayze, tells her Kayla, about her smile and stuff. So Swayze said he loves Kayla's confidence. I also love Kayla's confidence. For her to be 30 years old, she is very mature. But I mean, 30 is you should be mature, but she seems very assured of herself, and I love that about her. So and Swayze seems to like that about her too. So Mike and Charisse do speak. They get to speak to each other about their perceptions of him. And Charisse says that she was concerned about him having an ex-wife and having kids. She sees kids and kids as baggage. So comment down below. What do you feel? Do you think Charisse was wrong in saying that the kids are baggage, or is she just speaking her truth? Because I feel like she's speaking her truth as a woman. If I'm looking now, she's limiting herself. She's definitely limiting herself. I definitely feel like she's limiting herself because I think she's 43. She's 43. The men in your dating pool either have lived. So they either have a wife or they have kids or they've had both. So you're limiting yourself. So either it's going to skew very young or you're going to skew to a man who you may find it. It's not saying that you won't, but it's going to be the pool that you're looking at is going to be very, very small. So if she's willing to put in that work, I'm all for it. She does see kids as having baggage, and I can see that because when you have a child, or a man has a child, or a woman has a child, that child comes first. So if we're going on a date and my child is sick, we can't go on a date. Or if you want to have a spontaneous trip to Mexico, I have to make sure my child is looked after. I can't just go away unless my child is coming with us. So I can see where she says that. And then the whole ex-wife, or or even a baby mama in that same aspect. Sometimes you have drama, and I can attest to that as well. Having drama, and it doesn't always have to be drama. I'm prayerfully in my next situation, I won't have that situation, even if he's had an ex-wife or a baby mom or something like that. But you just pray and you hope that it isn't any drama. But there is a big, it could be, it could definitely be, and it does weigh on a relationship when there is drama from a previous situation. So yeah, I could feel Charisse and what she was going through at that point. And what she was saying, I don't think she said it right, but she definitely spoke her truth. Randall and Trinika end up going on a little one-on-one date. They seem to have a lot of chemistry. I like Trinika. She seems to be very, engaging. She, has her eye contact. She's touching Randall. She's doing all the right things um, to make Randall feel good about himself, or to put herself in a position that as a front runner for Randall. She says that she's looking for partnership, emotional, physical, and spiritual connection. So yeah, Trinika is saying all the right things that she should. She says she's been out of a relationship since 2019, so she's been dating herself. She's been able to heal from that relationship, so she's able to move forward. So that she's saying all the right things. Randall appears to love all of her responses. Um, and they seem to get real close on a date. She, says she wants to get closer, and Randall scoots on over. So yeah, Trinika, I mean, I don't know, she's been coached, but she's doing all the right things to get a man's interest. She's stimulating all of his senses. She looks like she smells good. She looks good. So smell, eyes, sight. She's saying all the right things, hearing, she's touching him. So the feeling, she's doing all of those things in this little date to Randall. And I feel like that's going to put her as a front runner if she's going to continue to do this on her dates. I really feel like men are going to be like, I want Tronika, type situation, especially if she gets them on a one-on-one type date. So Swayze takes his group date to event to do archery. Now I would love to do archery. I think that would be pretty cool. Just to, I love Hunger Games. So, with Katniss, and she used to have, the bow and arrow. I would love to have learned how to do that, and just to shoot, and to see how good I would have been at that. So yeah, so that definitely would have been a date I would have been excited to do. Kadian and Mike talk about being consistent. Kadian is she has gotten this thing where she's being the aggressive. She's being labeled aggressive, an aggressive person. Is she aggressive? Maybe. She's very direct in her tone. She is very direct, and maybe I think that kind of throws some men off how direct she is, because her questions lack finesse. They are more like you have done something wrong and I'm interrogating you. So if a man has to know that when he's dating her, that's her personality. And yes, she could get a little bit more finesse about how she's asking questions. But he's going to have to, like, people change, but they don't change much sometimes. So she may be able to change, but that edge may still be in there, and you may feel like you're being interrogated. Can you handle that? So yeah. So whoever dates her would have to be able to, kind of stand their ground. I think that they would have to not really put her in her place, but make her, feel like, okay, daddy, put me in my place. That's the type of energy like I feel like she would need some type of alpha. And she does make mention of that later. Um, so she's interrogating Mike. Kadia is interrogating Mike while eating a plate of ribs. Where did she get these ribs from? I don't know where she got them from, but she was aggressively eating the ribs and interrogating him at the same time. I wonder if she got kids, because they're not getting away with nothing with her. So Brandy wants to get to know Swayze and how he's feeling so far. So Brandy is kind of getting a feel for him, but Brandy is Team Mike. Like, she likes Mike. I don't think that anybody has been able to sway her thus far. Mike tells Kadeem, on their little, interaction, he tells Kadeem she comes across as being uptight, and she is on the defense. I'm not uptight. I go with the flow. Like, I think the wrong use of words, he used the wrong use of words for her. Maybe he just could have, talked to her a little bit differently, where she would have got on the defense, but she can dish it, but can't take it. Because he was direct with her, and she's a direct person, so you would think she'd be able to take it. But she immediately got defensive. Kadeem calls him an introvert, and he gets offended by that. And I'm like, Mike, introvert is not a horrible word. If you're an introvert, you're an introvert. I consider myself an introvert. I think I'm an introvert extrovert. Like, once you get to know me, I'm very talkative. Like, I don't have a problem with, I used to do sales. I don't have a problem with sales, and I don't have a problem, being very surface level with people, but it does drain my energy. So I can't do it. Like, I don't get energized by doing that. I can do it. I can be an extrovert when needed, but my go-to would be an introvert. Like, once you get to know me, I'll probably open up a little bit more, share my, become more vulnerable with you. But I'm not going to be that one and like, hey, how you doing? Da, 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 unless I'm doing it for a particular reason, if that makes sense. Comment. Are you an introvert or an extrovert? Because Mike seemed to seem like introvert was like she said something horrible. I don't feel like it was horrible. And I think Mike even said, like, once you get to know him, he talks. He said that like in the first episode, I believe. So that is the definition of an introvert, Mike. Like, what's the problem? That annoyed me. Um, so Brandy and Mike get together. They finally get their time together, and she says she wants to, go deeper with Mike. And Mike says Brandy makes him nervous in a good way. So I definitely see the chemistry between these two. Um, I feel like Brandy probably wouldn't look for anyone else, but I think Mike probably is going to continue to dip his toe out there before he goes all in with Brandy. Mike says he's looking for someone he can grow with, and I think that Brandy would be that type of girl. Um, And Brandy is also looking for someone to have her back. Now, I don't know. I don't know if Mike will have it back because he seems like he might, but I don't know. He just seems a little very like laid back to where he might let her just fight her battles. He doesn't seem like he's good in a confrontation type situation. Um, so Kadeem and Swayze seem to have a good connection. She said they talk a lot on the phone, so they have a good connection. So immediately when she comes to talk to Swayze, everything is all good. They have a little banter going, and Swayze seems to like that little banter. And I don't know if I could see them going. I think the fact that I think she's older than Swayze. I think she's older than Swayze. Um, Maybe he likes that because I know he likes older women, but I don't see the banter going any further than friendship. I don't see like a serious connection with them. Um, but Mike did also say, going back to Mike and Brandy, he did say that Brandy gives him the feels. So I really see that going in a positive direction. But if y'all are ready to love aficionados, doesn't Mike put you in the mindset of Cal Bonnie? He puts me in the mindset of Cal Bonnie, and Cal Bonnie was all in until he wasn't, until the show was over, and then he got back with his ex. I'm like, what? So I don't know. Mike gives me Cal Bonnie energy. So the men meet with Tommy. Tommy asks if any new connections were made. Samson said he had one with Sharice. That he was surprised by. Randall said he found a new connection with Tranika. So yeah, those were all, you know, I could definitely see those connections. I don't see the thing with Samson and Sharice going too far. I don't see that going too far. I don't see Sharice, getting that deep with him. Um, LJ says Looney has moved up on his radar. And Justice also said that Looney moved up on his radar. So I think that made LJ feel a little nervous because, the ladies love Justice for whatever reason. To me, he looks like Lionel Richie. But hey, to each their own. So Tommy starts to, question the men who were their bottoms. Alonzo says Brandy was his bottom. He just don't feel that connection with her. Mike says April. I mean, and I'm not surprised because April came busting in on his conversation. Samson also says April. He says April just did not, the conversations were more about her. Wasn't anything to get to know about him. So he wasn't feeling April. And he didn't feel like she was, the chase from her. So he felt like, the feelings was mutual. LJ says Sharice is his bottom. Swayze says Trinica. He just doesn't feel it with Trinica. Justice also says Kadian is, someone on his bottom. And then he says, don't poke the gorilla or something like that. And she, and Tommy, like, how did she do that? And he said, late night DMs. And I'm just like, sir, you are over the age. I mean, you had to be up to see the DMs, and like, what was she saying something in the DMs that you didn't like? Have you told her don't DM you, and she kept DMing you? Like, it was just weird. So yeah, I don't know if it was just the editing on that. It just did not make sense, and it was just like he had a lot of aggression about a DM. I understand it. Just block her, mute her, something if you don't want to see her DMs. But it was very rah rah rah. Like it was. I didn't like it. So the men, so the bottom two were definitely April and Kadian. So LJ meets with April, and Swayze meets with Kadian. LJ, tells April to remain patient on this journey. And Swayze speaks about how aggressive that she's being. The men feel like she's being very aggressive. So she replies, they need to stop being so weak. So, like I said earlier, she needs someone who is going to kind of challenge her and is going to give her, back a little bit of what she gives. Just a little bit of pushback, not too overly aggressive, like not shaking her or nothing, but can kind of, get her to comply, a little bit. And she definitely has to be attracted. Like that chemistry has to be there for her. And I feel like she would get, she would show her softer side. She said she's going to work on her softer side. Um, LJ tells April that she's lacking in the romance department. No one really had a connection with April, so she had to go. So Swayze tells Kadian they want to give her another chance. Kadian is relieved. April says she understands that the guys didn't want to move forward with her. She has to know she didn't have any connections, and she had to know it was coming for her. So that's basically episode 3 of Ready to Love. So far, so good. I'm enjoying. I'm enjoying this so far. I'm liking it better than last season. Last season was um, it was a little hard to watch, and it was too much. It was too much. Like I thought I was gonna have to put them down. So far so good with this cast. I'm enjoying it. I'm engaged. So I hope you all are doing the same. I hope you all are enjoying it. Comment down below. Who's your favorite? Who's your least favorite? My least favorite is definitely right now on the least favorite bus is Justice. I don't know if he's really here for love. He seems like he's here for games. So I'm rooting so far for Mike and Brandy. I'm hoping that that they can stay on the up and up because I feel like there's a lot of chemistry there. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. So far, so good for Ready to Love. Why I keep want to say Love and Hip Hop? Ready to Love Miami. So yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to my channel, share, hit the notification button, do all of those good things. I am excited to come back with some videos and to give some thoughts on certain things. I'm going to do some topics. I just got to find the time, y'all. I got to do better with my time management because I want to talk about some different things, different topics that, are near and dear to me, things that that we may want to discuss, or I may just want to vent and see what you all think. So yeah, look for more content coming soon. So until then, thank you Be blessed. And if anyone hasn't told you, I love you.